Hey Steelers fans, welcome back. Today we got a deep dive into the whirlwind of changes happening in Pittsburgh. And let me tell you, the coaching carousel is spinning faster than ever. In the last 24 hours alone, we've seen so many new faces joining the Steelers staff that it feels like the entire league hit the refresh button. First up, we have a new strength and conditioning coordinator, Mark Lovat, stepping in with a wealth of experience from his time under Mike McCarthy in Green Bay. Lovat is set to take over responsibilities that shape the players' physical readiness and overall conditioning. And given his history, there's every reason to think he can bring a solid mix of discipline and innovation to the team. Then we move over to the special teams. Danny Smith's role has changed hands, but the tradition of experienced leadership continues. The Steelers brought in someone new from Miami, who has been serving in that capacity since 2019, keeping that continuity in mind while also injecting fresh energy. Special teams might seem like a smaller corner of the game, but anyone who follows football knows just how crucial these roles are, and the musical chairs nature of these positions often hides the impact these coordinators can have on games. Defensively, things are also taking shape with a notable hire in Jason Simmons, who will take on the dual role of defensive passing game coordinator and defensive backs coach. It's an intriguing pairing because Simmons isn't just a coach. He's a former player for the Steelers himself, having patrolled the secondary from 1998 to 2001. His career has intertwined with McCarthy's in multiple stops, including an extended stint in Green Bay and later under Dan Quinn in Washington, creating a network of experience and familiarity that McCarthy clearly values. Bringing in someone with that kind of perspective, both as a player and a coach, sets the stage for a defensive scheme that's deeply informed by firsthand knowledge of the league and its nuances. On the administrative side, Steve Scarncia has been named Chief of Staff, a title that might not sound flashy, but carries significant responsibility. Over the past 5 seasons, he has split time coordinating daily operations for the Falcons and Jets, honing an ability to manage the complex logistics of an NFL coaching staff. His tasks will include organizing meetings, practice schedules, staff events, and overseeing football operations budgets, which may sound dry, but is actually critical to ensuring the team functions smoothly day to day. It's the kind of role that keeps the coaches focused on the field while the operational backbone handles the rest, and Scarncia's background indicates he's more than up to the task. Scott McCurley remains with the team as the inside linebackers coach, representing one of the few holdovers from Mike Tomlin's staff. But even in that retention, there's a connection to McCarthy, as McCurley has worked alongside him in both Green Bay and Dallas, spanning nearly 15 years of combined experience. That long-term familiarity can't be overstated. It's often the glue that allows a team to maintain continuity amid such a massive wave of new hires. Tom Arth, the quarterback's coach under Tomlin, has also stayed on. He has prior experience working with big-name quarterbacks like Mason Rudolph and Aaron Rodgers, and his history with McCarthy in Green Bay dating back to 2006 ensures that the signal callers in Pittsburgh will continue receiving top-level guidance. The offensive staff is also shaping up with some intriguing appointments. Adam Henry takes over as wide receivers coach, James Campen steps in to lead the offensive line, and Rayon Chinyoung will oversee the running backs. Chinyoung's path is particularly interesting, as his NFL experience largely comes from working with McCarthy in Arlington, first as an assistant offensive line and quality control coach before moving up. Now, he transitions into mentoring running backs, which is a shift, but one that shows the flexibility and adaptability McCarthy seems to prize in his hires. And while these roles are solid, the offensive coordinator spot remains open, with Scott Tolzien, a former NFL quarterback and McCarthy mentee, having interviewed for the position. His dual experience as a player and coach under McCarthy in Green Bay adds yet another layer to the connections running through this new staff. Looking at all these changes together, 3 main impressions emerge. First, Patrick Graham's hiring as defensive coordinator stands out. His record in Las Vegas is impressive, but what excites fans most is seeing him take over a Steelers roster rich with talent. The defensive personnel here may not have always lived up to potential in past seasons, but under Graham, there's a sense that they could reach new heights. Second, McCarthy clearly prioritizes loyalty and trust when assembling his staff. Nearly every hire carries a thread back to past professional relationships, reflecting a philosophy where knowing someone's character and work ethic can be just as valuable as technical skills. This approach explains why there are so few holdovers from Tomlin's staff and why certain veteran coaches, no matter how beloved, were not retained. Finally, evaluating the overall caliber of the staff is difficult until the offensive coordinator position is filled. McCarthy is expected to call plays himself, but the dynamic between head coach and coordinator will be critical. The ideal candidate will not only execute a vision on the field, but also inspire innovation, creativity, and adaptability that elevate the entire offensive scheme. Until then, the Steelers fans will have to wait and see how these pieces fit together on the practice field and ultimately in games. What's clear is that McCarthy has carefully constructed a network of professionals he trusts, blending experience, past collaboration, and fresh perspectives to tackle the 2026 season. The sheer volume of movement in Pittsburgh's coaching ranks might seem overwhelming at first, but when you break it down, there's a clear pattern. McCarthy values staff members who understand the pressures of the NFL, who have been through playoff battles, and who can maintain composure under the intense scrutiny of the league. This network isn't accidental. It's a calculated effort to create stability through relationships while also fostering innovation through new hires who bring different experiences and skill sets. It's a balancing act between loyalty and adaptation. And for Steelers fans, the payoff will only be clear once the team hits the field and these hires start to show results. Even with so much change, there are consistent threads connecting the new staff, a reliance on prior experience with McCarthy, a mixture of retention and fresh perspective, and an emphasis on versatility. Whether it's coordinating practice schedules, mentoring quarterbacks, or refining special team schemes, each coach brings a unique piece to the puzzle, and it's that combination of old and new that could define the Steelers' trajectory for the upcoming season. Every hire tells a story of strategic planning, prior collaboration, and calculated risk-taking, all of which signal a front office and coaching staff deeply committed to building a competitive, cohesive team. As we continue breaking down the Steelers' coaching shuffle, it's impossible to ignore the impact this new lineup could have on player development. Each coach comes with their own philosophy, their own approach to teaching, and the combined influence of all these voices could completely reshape how the team functions on both sides of the ball. The defensive backs, for example, now have Jason Simmons guiding them, a former player who understands what it takes to succeed in this league from the inside out. His dual role as passing game coordinator and DB coach gives him the ability to align schemes with individual player strengths, something that could be a game changer as the Steelers look to tighten up their secondary. The offensive side is equally fascinating, with Tom Arth remaining as quarterbacks coach and mentoring the likes of Will Howard, Mason Rudolph, and potentially other young signal callers. The room has continuity, but also a fresh infusion of ideas. Arth's history with McCarthy dating back to Green Bay brings decades of accumulated knowledge, blending traditional concepts with the new philosophies McCarthy is trying to implement in Pittsburgh. Adam Henry at wide receivers and Rayon Shin-Young with the running backs create a dynamic where players have experts who can not only refine their technique, but also push them to understand the game at a deeper strategic level. The synergy between coaches and players in these positions will likely determine how quickly the Steelers can adapt to McCarthy's systems and philosophy. Offensive line coaching under James Campen is another critical piece. Campen has a reputation for attention to detail, ensuring that linemen aren't just physically prepared but mentally sharp, capable of reading defenses and adjusting on the fly. In a league where the margin between success and failure can be measured in fractions of a second, that ability to adapt at the line of scrimmage is invaluable. Combine that with the physical conditioning oversight from Mark Lovat and the special teams management from the new coordinator, and you start to see a complete picture forming. A highly interconnected staff where each part supports the others, creating a cohesive operation that extends far beyond individual units. Looking beyond the staff themselves, there's also a strategic layer to these hires. McCarthy clearly values prior working relationships, which builds trust and reduces the learning curve. But he's also adding fresh perspectives from coaches who bring new experiences, different coaching trees, and exposure to varied systems. This mix could lead to a more versatile team, able to adjust mid-game, respond to unexpected challenges, and capitalize on matchup opportunities. It's the kind of forward-thinking approach that separates teams who just survive in the NFL from those who dominate and consistently make deep playoff runs. Another important element is culture. A new coaching staff inevitably shifts the locker room dynamic. Players who were accustomed to Tomlin's style must now adjust to McCarthy's approach, while integrating the philosophies of multiple new coordinators and position coaches. That transition can be delicate. Too much change at once can disrupt chemistry, but when managed correctly, it can energize a team, infusing motivation and a fresh sense of purpose. The Steelers' front office clearly believes this blend of old and new, familiar and fresh, will foster the right kind of competitive energy. Players who embrace it could see their performances elevated, while those resistant to adaptation might face more pressure to evolve or risk falling behind. Special attention must be paid to the defensive strategy under Patrick Graham. Coming from Las Vegas, Graham has proven he can get results even in challenging environments. But now, he's entering a system with greater talent, which presents an opportunity to implement more complex schemes, test different formations, and leverage players' unique skill sets. The secondary, linebackers, and defensive front all benefit from coordinated coaching that emphasizes adaptability and anticipation. For a team like the Steelers, whose identity has long been rooted in a strong defense, Graham's role could be pivotal in ensuring the team not only meets expectations but also pushes beyond them. Offensively, the absence of a finalized coordinator creates an air of suspense. McCarthy calling plays himself gives him control, but the identity of the offensive coordinator will influence how the game plan develops week to week. Will it lean heavily on innovative designs, or will it prioritize traditional approaches aimed at exploiting mismatches? The right hire could accelerate the team's evolution, particularly if that coach is someone capable of synthesizing McCarthy's vision with creative adaptations that keep opponents guessing. Until that decision is made, much of the team's potential remains a tantalizing what-if, adding intrigue to the offseason and creating a buzz among fans eager to see the finished puzzle take shape. The administrative structure also plays a subtle but crucial role. With Steve Scarncia coordinating schedules, meetings, and operational logistics, coaches can focus entirely on football, players can focus entirely on performance, and the organization as a whole operates more efficiently. That might not make headlines and highlight reels, but it's the backbone of a well-functioning team. Every practice, every film session, every staff meeting becomes more productive because someone is orchestrating the daily rhythm of the organization, ensuring that nothing falls through the cracks while maintaining focus on long-term objectives. It's also fascinating to watch how McCarthy balances loyalty with innovation. While he favors those he's worked with previously, he's willing to bring in new faces who challenge the status quo and introduce fresh ideas. This balance ensures the staff isn't an echo chamber. It's a collaborative network where experience meets creativity, and where each coach has a clear role, but also the opportunity to contribute to broader strategic decisions. That approach, if executed properly, can transform the Steelers into a team that is adaptive, resilient, and capable of outperforming expectations in an ever-competitive league. But before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and hit the like button on this video. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest updates on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In a move that has sent shockwaves through the NFL community, the Pittsburgh Steelers are reportedly leaning heavily toward an internal decision that could see Mike McCarthy take over as their next head coach. While nothing has been officially announced, sources close to the organization suggest that discussions behind closed doors have favored McCarthy, a coach with a proven Super Bowl pedigree and a reputation for offensive ingenuity. The Steelers, a franchise steeped in tradition and known for its disciplined approach to leadership, appear to be searching for a steady hand capable of restoring consistency to a team that has experienced turbulence in recent seasons. McCarthy, who has spent years navigating high-pressure situations and leading championship-caliber teams, seems to fit the profile that management is quietly endorsing. Insiders claim that the alignment between the team's front office and McCarthy's coaching philosophy is striking, particularly in terms of quarterback development and game management. Speculation has intensified after anonymous sources hinted that preliminary talks between McCarthy and the Steelers hierarchy have been positive and productive, signaling that both sides are seriously exploring a partnership. Analysts and fans alike are abuzz, weighing the implications of bringing in a coach whose resume includes a Super Bowl victory and years of playoff experience. The potential hiring raises questions about the team's future strategies, from offensive schemes to player development, and whether McCarthy's influence could rejuvenate a roster seeking stability and a clear identity. While it remains to be seen whether a formal announcement will materialize, the buzz around Pittsburgh suggests that the decision is more than just a rumor. Should McCarthy officially step into the role, it could mark a turning point for the Steelers, potentially setting the stage for a new era defined by strategic discipline and championship aspirations. The NFL world is watching closely, and every insider tip fuels the growing narrative. Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh might not just be a possibility. It could be the organization's next big move. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Pittsburgh Steelers, make sure to subscribe to Steelers Nation Central and give this video a like. We always look forward to hearing your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.